The best prediction of a healthy marriage and relationship is to be with someone who loves God more than they like you or love you. And today I want to talk about that because oftentimes we focus on how a person looks. That's important. How much someone earns. That's important. But I think that we neglect to understand that if we are going to live this life in partnership with someone, with God, then we need to be with someone who is more passionately focused on God than they are on you. So welcome back to another episode of the You, Me, and Jesus podcast. We talk about all the things. And today we are talking about one of my favorite subjects is dating, marrying, and all the things, because I don't know what single girl doesn't think about that, but I am definitely the girl who thinks about that. And I was actually having a conversation with a gentleman, with a group of people the other day. And I said, ooh, this would be a really good topic for you, me, and Jesus. And so I'm like, let's dive into it. So I created this community here in Houston, and we are people that want to make friends, and it's just growing very fast. And we are having these different brunches. And one of the things that we have in this group is we have a singles chat. And I'm encouraging singles to connect, get out there and do all these different things. And so a bunch of us were out to brunch the other day. It was a bunch of ladies and two gentlemen, excuse me. One was married, and we were talking about dating, and I was asking them, what are they all looking for? It's just to bring up conversation to get to know each other. And the gentleman that was there, the single gentleman, he said, I'm looking for someone who loves God more than they would love me. And I've heard that phrase before many times, and people have told me that that's important. And to be quite honest, I didn't really understand it until after dealing with infidelity in my marriage, and being back in the scene of dating. And it resonates with me because when you think about living this life and being a human being and trying to forge a life with another human being that is whatever age they are, whatever hopes, dreams, expectations, how they're raised, it's beautiful and it's hard, right? Because you've got two different worlds trying to come together to create one world, and everybody's dealing with whatever they're dealing with, awesomeness things and then not so awesome things. And when you are in relationship with people, you're going to deal with people things. You're going to deal with the good sides of them, the not so good. There are good days, there are bad days, all this stuff, right? We all have our own temptation. Like the devil does all types of things to tempt us. It just is what it is. And each of us have our own convictions about what we are convicted about, this or that, or what have you, right? And when you're in relationship with someone who is a Christian, or in general, you want to be with somebody who y'all aren't the same, right? Y'all not perfectly aligned, right? But at the core, if someone needs to be corrected, they can be corrected by God. If someone needs to be convicted about something, they can be convicted by God. If someone is trying to figure out how to do a certain thing, good or not good or whatever, you need that person to have a firm foundation with, it's like, I'm always seeking God before I do a certain thing, before I whatever, right? And I never really understood I never really understood that. I have always had this conviction about intimacy, about not engaging in intimacy, and just preserving certain things for marriage, right? Just a passion about that. And then once I really started going on an intentional relationship journey with God to grow my relationship with him, I have become convicted about so many things, you know? And that's because of my relationship with God. It has nothing to do with a person. It has to do with me and him. So if I get with someone, when I get with someone, start dating or marrying, whatever someone, I already have all these convictions, right? I can already be challenged. I can already be, corrected. I already feel some type of way about preserving intimacy until marriage. I feel some type of way about infidelity, and stealing and lying, and already feel convicted about those things. And when I think about me getting with someone, I think it's really important that that person has convictions, right? That person loves God, and that person wants to honor God with their body. That person wants to honor God with their word, and they just want to honor God with their life, and it has nothing to do with me, right? Then when the two of us come together, I don't really have to worry about him being unfaithful, because it has nothing to do with me. It has to do with his relationship with God. I don't really have to worry about him lying, cheating, stealing, or whatever because of his conviction to God, right? And he doesn't have to worry about that with me. Doesn't mean that everybody's going to be perfect. I'm just saying that certain things, it's like if you feel strongly convicted about it because of your relationship with God, how much you love him and you fear him and you just want to honor him with your life, then when push comes to shove, when we want to fight and argue or whatever, at some point in time, a conviction will come and it will help us kind of bring ourselves back to ourselves, right? When I want to do something that I shouldn't do, there's a conviction not because of my spouse, but because of God, right? God will be first and my spouse will be second, all right? Or the person I date will be second. And when I think about trying to manipulate him into doing things or whatever, if I wanted to, there's a conviction that I would have about God first before I, mess with him, and then vice versa. And so when I heard him say that, I was like, yeah, that is the way, because we're all trying to figure out this life. We're all trying to navigate and be here in this world that is not, don't have a lot of convictions that we may have, as Christians, and you're trying to figure that out. It's already hard enough. And we don't want to make it uber hard by getting with someone who loves us more than they love God, right? Because there's going to be times when they don't want to be bothered with us. And then they can go and get into stuff because they're mad at me and no one else is leading them to conviction, leading them to truth or whatever. And so I love that he said that, I didn't really say that to him at the event, because I was like, let me just be here with everybody and hear what this person is saying and engaging with everybody. But I was like, yes, 100%. And so when I think about us dating and marrying, I think that we need to get to a place where we truly believe that what we are looking for is looking for us, and that the God that we serve and honor is the same. He is with the person that we want to be with, and I just have a belief, that who's looking for me, who's looking for God and me is like, I'm looking for him and he's looking for me, and I have to believe that, because I just do. I just feel like it's hard to be in a relationship with people, but it's easy to be in a relationship with God, who is going to bring me in a relationship with a person. And if I don't choose to settle for someone who likes God or loves him some, but not one who really fears him, if I choose not to settle, then I will get exactly what I'm looking for. Doesn't mean a man's going to be perfect. It just means I'm going to get what I'm looking for. I remember a couple years ago, I had a dream, and something, I can't remember exactly what happened in my dream, but I remember when I woke up and I heard God say, you will never deal with infidelity ever again. I heard that clear as day. I woke up feeling so loved and so protected. And I heard him say, you will never deal with infidelity ever again. And in that moment, I said, okay. And that just made me believe that when God says this is him, then I won't have to worry about infidelity. I'm not going to cheat. That's not me. And because God told me that when I ever dating somebody, I'm like, that's what I believe. And that's what I'm waiting on. Okay. So if you're waiting to be found or waiting to find someone, I encourage you to stay encouraged. Talk to God, get closer to God, yield your life to God. In areas where you're struggling, get some help from him, right? So that you can be strong in that, because just work on what you got to work on, with God, and he's going to bring you somebody special.